105 Banyak FM. I'm Flavia Nansuruga. Have a good afternoon.
This is 104.5.
And for those hair-raising moments, turn to Wonders Hair Products. Say goodbye to dull, lifeless locks and hello to hair that shines with vitality and strength. Because at Wonders, we understand that every day is a chance to create something beautiful, to embrace the wonder that surrounds us and make it a part of who we are. Don't be left behind. Try Wanda's today and get the vibrant look you've always dreamed of. Wanda's, always wonderful.
Na kwachira ha tayari DStv ebiro 16 ukwezi ku 11 ikanubezije hamwe na mutayiwe haja Bitaribimwe muri Kenya bakabuzibwaho kandi ebiri 19 beija kubahereza kugamba makuru go kubura kwabo bija bagumiza muno kurebeka ahabiro 20 kandi aho babareta umisho ga General Court Martial kubuzibwa kasiyona kahindu abo kugira ngo bakakwatwa kandi bavunana imishango yo kugira ngo bakaba bari kupuraninga kurya umunsi yabo orukwe na mnonga okwihaho ubutegetsi buriho umuringo gw'icicama ibintu byije biri kuba bityoya biri 10 byo kwezi ku 12 General Court Martial basindika Dr. Bezje mpaka kwisya ebiro mushanju ukwezi ko kubanza ebiro mushanju ukwezi ko kubanza umunyamateka wabo Aaron Chiza nawe bija bamuvunana mushango kugira ngo akeyisa kubi na mnonga ali umukorereza abantu abo now byagumiza mbityoye biri 12 ukwezi ko kubanza Dr. Bezje na Bitaribimwe Batio bayanga ku enteringa chitweta a plea to the new additional charge of treachery by the state. Bakanga kwikiriza ngo ebi bakaba bikoze. Ibirashitana kimwe kwezi ko kubanza Supreme Court yagira ngo inshara mweji ya court martial abantu babutosha tibashimye ko barakora batyoya. Abiri na kimwe baba leta mu civilian court yana kawa babataye imishango ya treason hamwe na n'indije giye toye ebiro 11 kwa kana umuramuzi Rosette Comfort yayanga kubahereza bail baguma bari kwija batyoya umukoti now twamara umwaka muraba 365 days aba bari yo mucomi abekibina cha PFF ubwatiya eshiye bari kurira abari yo muri Katonga kandi bine kuganira n'abanyamahurira n'ihanga abikwatirina n'umwe mbizi wabo kumara umwaka umucomi reka tubatwariyo umukayiraka okugira manze muhurire byona ebari kutisa n'isharamu yabo na no kubemerire obwambwene.
Dr. Chiza's life. The mission was foiled by divine intervention. So it's by the grace of the Lord that Dr. is still alive today. And we have every reason to celebrate that fact, that that Dr. Besigye is alive. Because Mr. Museveni and his son and all the lieutenants within this regime had passed a judgment which was only awaiting execution, that Dr. Besigye should be eliminated. Why was Besigye why was he going to face that kind of treatment? You know, this regime has been speaking through the CBF, who actually made a proclamation that even after the kidnap and after they recognized that actually they were in custody of Dr. Kizza Besigye, that they had kept custody of Dr. Kizza Besigye, said they were going to execute him on Heroes Day, 9th June. They had identified the tree in Iguru, which they had preserved, and they're just waiting for that moment to have him tied on the tree and subjected to a firing squad. Reason, you know, Dr. Besigye is a political juggernaut, whether they like it or not. You know, Colossus, a person who is the anchor of the in this country. Mr. Museveni knows how indomitable Dr. Besigye is when it comes to fighting dictatorship. He knows. So they have tried everything possible to crush that spirit in vain. The kind of trumped up charges they have subjected him to, the torture, brutalization, dehumanization, and then they reached a point of saying, no, he must be eliminated. Museveni is building a dynasty, no doubt about it. And Dr. Besigye has been championing the transition agenda. And Museveni's agenda is succession agenda. So that is the debate, the issue. Do we have a transition, from the military rule to a civilian rule? That is the crux of the matter. The battle Dr. Besigye and all of us are spearheading. A transition from gun rule, a transition from family rule, a transition from a dynasty to a truly democratic dispensation where the will and sovereign authority of the people reigns supreme. On several occasions, Dr. Besigye has put it on record that the sovereign authority right now resides in Mr. Museveni, not in the people of Uganda. And for a dynasty thrives on that doctrine of the sovereign authority residing in a person, in a cult. That is Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. And he wants to pass on the mantle to his son, either after death, to have it bequeathed to General Muhoozi, or when he's tired, like Kamuzu Banda and others. Of course, what is happening in Cameroon is well known to all and sundry. So, Dr. Besigye, with his determination, resolve, and charisma to fight the succession agenda, has been the reason Mr. Museveni and his team, his family, wanted him eliminated. And as I've said, it's only God that foiled that nefarious agenda of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. As we commemorate 1 year, as I've said, of course we commiserate, no doubt about that. But at the same time, we celebrate that reality. Doctor is still with us. Now, turning to the issue of the harrowing experience I talked about, you know the ordeal we went through. First of all, God willing, Doctor will have time to recount the ordeal they went through from the time of arrest, kidnap rather, or abduction, up to the time when he regains his freedom. I'm sure that moment will come. But he has had occasion to share with us some facts the way he was treated. And even myself, when I visited Nairobi to collect his luggage from the hotel where it had been kept, we had whispers from the security personnel and whatnot. And of course, human rights organizations in Kenya, ICJ, Paru, and others who came to our assistance. It's a terrible story. But what we need to restate here is what we have all been witnessing right from the time he was arraigned before the General Court Martial. You remember those awful incidents we had at the General Court Martial, what we had to go through, to the extent that on the 7th day of January, one of us, Counsel Aaron Chiza, was grabbed. You know how you remember how those mean-looking, military personnel pounced on him. Those who used to mask themselves for fear of identification pounced on him, tortured him to almost a point of death, and subsequently detained. We had to put up or to mount a spirited fight, and we made a proclamation here that now, for us who are outside, our mission was to dismantle the General Court Martial. You remember, in our New Year statement here in January, we said, now we are going to fight and have the General Court Martial dismantled. I'm glad we lived up to that promise. We fought the General Court Martial. Because what was happening was just a perfunctory trial. The assignment of Freeman Mugabe was just to take Dr. Besigye through the process as a matter of course and have him executed on 9th of June. That was the agenda. So we had to put up a spirited fight against the Freeman-headed General Court Martial, and we brought it down. We got a judgment on the 31st day of January in the Supreme Court. And again, we had to go into another phase of, again, a protracted battle to have these matters transferred from that kangaroo court to what we thought would be a better environment, which is ostensibly meant to deal with the civilians. That is the civilian courts. It was another battle altogether. From the 31st day of January up to the 21st day of February, Dr. Besigye remained incarcerated without a remand warrant. Can you imagine? And under the Prisons Act, no one should be on remand in any gazetted prison, without a valid remand warrant. But he remained there, and they remained there with Obed. So we had to put up again another fight, and Dr. Besigye had to go on a hunger strike, which he also nearly claimed his life. We'll never forget that moment when Dr. Besigye was brought before Justice Douglas Singiza upon our application for his temporary relief. You know, we wanted, reprieve. We wanted that temporary relief from Justice Douglas Singiza on that account of failing health of Dr. Kizza Besigye. He was good to us and said, okay, fine. Let me issue an order to have him produced. And he was produced. But we got a shock of our life when Justice Douglas Singiza looked at him and said, hey. He's in a terrible, terrible health situation. Take him back to Luzira lest he dies in my court. It was quite disturbing. You have a prisoner in your hands, incarcerated illegally, he's on the brink of death. Instead of directing the authorities to take him to the hospital in an ambulance, you put him in a prison's truck back to prison. And subsequently, those people realized that actually Doctor's health was in danger. Parliament convened, they sent there a committee. Myself, it was the first opportunity to visit the actual cell in the upper prison where Dr. Besigye is sleeping. That was my first time, because now this time I got an opportunity to accompany the Committee of Parliament Human Rights Committee, headed by Fox Odoye. I don't know whether he's still the head. So we went there. They all witnessed what was happening. Surprisingly again, when they came back to Parliament, there was no remedy. No orders as to medication, whatever, nothing. So when they visited, they looked at Dr. Besigye was just there, literally, on his deathbed. But they were all helpless, never offered a solution. Until finally he was almost dying, that he was transferred to a facility in Bugorobi, private facility, where he got some treatment. And finally they succumbed to that pressure and transferred Dr. Besigye to the civilian court on the 21st of February, and then the hunger strike was called off. The other thing, which is a key highlight of what we have gone through, are the multiple applications we have filed to get bail, as provided for under our constitutional framework. They are bail applications which are anchored on the discretion of court, but there is one which is mandatory. The first one we filed was before Justice Kanya. You recall how she surprised the entire country. Said, oh, I've seen the securities, they are all substantial. And the record of Dr. Besigye is well known. He's a citizen, a senior citizen for that matter, who never absconded from the jurisdiction of court. And indeed actually had been subjected to similar charges, including rape, treason, terrorism, which are all grave offenses. He never absconded, and said he's a man of good record. He has a permanent residence. He's well known. The world that I will not grant Dr. Besigye bail, despite the fact that he had satisfied all the requirements. And that's how it ended. We never tired from the fight, the efforts to push for his release. So he put in another application. This time around it was allocated to Justice Isa Serunkuma. But on the day of the hearing, we got a surprise of our life when we found the files before Justice Emmanuel Baguma. And we asked, how did this happen? That, Justice Isa Serunkuma said, they had told him to back off the case, and they had brought Justice Emmanuel Baguma now, probably now, to replace Freeman Mugabe. Indeed, Baguma has treated the civilian case, court. Indeed, Baguma Emmanuel has treated this civilian court at High Court more or less like a general court martial. In some cases, even worse than Freeman Mugabe. In some cases. The least you would expect from a civilian court is to do the things, the horrible things Justice Baguma has done, including denying Dr. Besigye mandatory bail, which is a command of the Constitution under Article 23. With such outrageous and preposterous reasoning that Dr. Besigye's remand period while under the general court martial does not count. If you ask Justice Baguma today, has Dr. Besigye spent a year in jail? He will say no. According to his calculation and the mathematics he has conducted, it's not yet a year. But by that time, Dr. Besigye had spent more than 8 months on remand. And Justice Baguma said no. And many other applications we have filed, which you have also been following, recusal, transfer of the files to the Constitutional Court, all have been thrown out without any justifiable reason. It is also on record, we filed a matter before the East African Court of Justice. Unfortunately, the machinations from this regime have frustrated all the efforts of having the same fixed for hearing. Their maneuvers have gone beyond borders, and now the application, before the matter before the East African Court of Justice is headed by Omukaruuru, who is heading both the the team in Kenya. We filed another matter against the government of Kenya in the High Court at Kilimani for conferencing. Again, unfortunately, for one reason or another, it was adjourned to Feb next year. That's how frustrating the legal battle has been on remand or in prison. There isn't even a single court order we have received in our favor. Not one. Not even a single intervention from any of the agencies charged with observance and protection of human rights, like the Uganda Human Rights Commission, Parliament, or any other agency, whether state or non-state agencies. Nothing that we have received. Nothing has come to the rescue of Dr. Besigye and Obed Rutale. So that paints to you the picture that this country is under state capture. All these institutions, rather, under state capture. That gives you that picture. And in essence, it means the constitutional order created by the current constitutional document has since been overthrown. This is a confirmation, a further confirmation of what we have always told the country, that we no longer have a constitutional order. All we have is a constitutional document which has been relegated to a mere paper tiger. But we have no constitutional order. And this is one thing we need to deal with. Now, this brings us to the way forward, because we told you we shall recount you the experience of what we have gone through. Of course, we have not explained the void Dr. Besigye has left, the absence of Dr. Besigye has caused to the political scene of this country, and I think we need to address that. The void is felt by all of you, by all actors, across the political divide. The absence of Dr. Besigye from the political scene, the political colossus I've talked about, the political juggernaut I've talked about, is felt by all and sundry. I think every now and again the question lingering on your mind when you witness political events unfolding, the question lingering on your mind, all of you, what would Besigye do? If there is any question that would weigh heavy on your mind, what would Besigye do under such circumstances? And that is a serious question we need to answer. Those of us who have interacted with him on several occasions at Ruzira, these issues are weighing heavy on his mind. Now, this is the way forward. Number one, as the leadership of PFF at Katonga here, we have decided to declare a Besigye prayer week starting from today, with a call to all of you peace-loving Ugandans, not only members of PFF, but all peace-loving Ugandans, in all your prayers, private and public, to have Dr. SJ at heart. Of course, with all the political prisoners. And in this prayer week, we ask all of you kindly during this prayer week. We know this is a political season, I mean a politically charged season. We are all in campaigns. At all our campaign rallies, campaign meetings, campaign activities, we start the proceedings with a prayer for Dr. and all political prisoners. This request is not only to our candidates, but to all comrades in various political formations who are seeking for regime change. Related to that is the call to all of us, all of you, the candidates, starting with ourselves, the candidates. We prioritize the issue of freeing the political prisoners in all our campaigns. It should be at the forefront. It should be central in our message. It should be so central. It should be the captivating issue at hand. Because everything that we do starts with our freedom. We are all endangered. In the summary of the case, in this matter of Dr. Besigye and Obedi Lutale, which was presented before Justice Howaship Nantege, Christine in Nakawa, and subsequently filed in the High Court, my brother, the Honorable Semuju Nganda, Salam Musumba, and I were listed as accomplices. Don't forget that. And they indicated that, look, in all the meetings in Geneva, Greece, Nairobi, the person of Semuju Nganda, Salam Musumba, Lukwaga, and others featured prominently. Maybe they are putting us on the radar, monitoring what we are doing, and anytime they can pounce on us. The Kisumu 36, where are you? Any of the Kisumu 36? You know what transpired? Do you recall the date when we were kidnapped from Kisumu? Yes? 24th, 23rd July? Can you forget that day? Anyway, you recall they started with our 36 Kisumu prisoners, captives, who were picked almost in the same fashion from their hotels, illegally renditioned, and arraigned before. Actually, before even they were charged, they were paraded at Kololo as terrorists. And they forced Samuel Makoha to address the press on behalf of the rest. Subsequently, we had to battle that matter. And they failed to bring evidence. Now, we are all endangered. So they call to all of us, please, it's a battle of our life. There are two Kenyans who were kidnapped from here, kept for close to 2 months. And Mr. Museveni had the qualms of telling the nation that these people are experts in demonstrations, mandamano. It's the reason they had been kept away in a fridge. And subsequently dumped at the border point in Busia. Go back. Without following the due process, without a deportation order, without an extradition order, and that's how it happened. So it's incumbent upon all of us, ladies and gentlemen, to fight the battle of our life, to free ourselves. So in all our campaigns, and all the presidential candidates who are seeking for change, it's a call to all of us. We appreciate what happened in Ukunjiri because the message was loud and clear. Free Besigye, free Besigye, free Besigye. That should reverberate throughout the campaign programs we are having. We ask that it shouldn't be a one-off, and we are asking that all of us, that should be the catchphrase, not only Besigye, but every political prisoner whom you know, and those who have disappeared. There are those in gazetted prisons. There are no activists who are in Ruzira sharing the same jail with Dr. Besigye. There are those now kept away in ungazetted facilities, like the Kenyans explained, over 500, including Kaindo Tafire's brother, or relative for that matter. And some Mugumya, up to now. We have gotten a number of habeas corpus orders, but in vain. So up to now, some Mugumya is just kept somewhere in the basement without being brought before court. So we need to collectively deal with this. So this call is not restricted only to candidates, but the entire citizenry, Ugandans, in your various capacities. This is a clarion call. It's a command under Article 3 of the Constitution that we should rise to the occasion. So we demand that we extricate ourselves from the bond, or the bondage where we are kept, or the shackles rather. We have to extricate ourselves from the shackles of tyranny and brutality. That is number two. Number three, you are aware that for the last 1 year of incarceration of Dr. Besigye and Obed Lutale, the matter has not been heard on merit. Can you imagine? The state claims that they are still gathering evidence. Even by the time of Komito, you remember the Komito proceedings before before her worship of Christine. It was 29th May. They had just filed an application to access data on Dr. Besigye's phone. And that application is still pending before the magistrate court in Nakao. Meaning, actually, that they are still gathering evidence against Dr. Kizza Besigye. They made futile attempts to implicate Dr. Besigye in the court of public opinion by saturating those whatever choreographed record, whatever, whether by AI, whatever, we don't know, we are yet to verify, so that they have Dr. Besigye convicted in the court of public opinion. And the likes of Andrew Mwenda, we are hyping on that too much. This Besigye, so now Mwenda has gone silent. We ask the likes of Mwenda, where are those videos, those recordings you were saturating around? You were hyping on them so much. He's a criminal, he's a criminal, he's a criminal, So we are asking the judiciary, this is the call, we are asking the judiciary, shouldn't be used as a torture chamber. You can do better, Justice Owinyitoro. You can do much better. There is no line now between the general court martial and the civilian court martial. There is no clear demarcation now between the general court martial and the civilian court martial.
You are right. You are correct.
Because that is what it is. There is no distinction. So, Justice Owinyitoro, you took oath to uphold the Constitution, to uphold the rule of law, to uphold the laws of this country. Why witness this kind of transgression and actually you abet it? Judicially stand its ground and say enough is enough to the extension of persecution within dismissed. So we are stuck. And Besigye is rotting away in jail. So we demand that the judiciary should rise to the occasion. Number 4, we are concerned about of dictators in East Africa here. We are really concerned. There is corruption. Kidnaps are happening in Uganda, kidnaps are happening in Kenya, kidnaps are happening in Tanzania, and they are all acting in concert. There is collusion now. So the East African community right now is a forum that is used to torture us as citizens. And we have every reason to believe that when they sit in the East African community, now their discussion is about persecution of the citizens within the region. It's all about that. Ruto said the father of the region is Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. How can Museveni be the father of the region, honestly speaking? When they should be actually ganging up against him. I don't know how old Ruto was when Museveni came to power. So, Ruto is persecuting the Kenyans. Right now, we even fear to go to Kenya. The other day when our colleagues, Agatha, Twairu and others attempted to get to Tanzania, they were subjected to dehumanization, as you all know. Martha Karua and others who crossed from Kenya, it was the same treatment. The Kenyans come here to participate in, as brothers and sisters in our activities here. They are hounded, they are kept in a fridge and subsequently dumped at the border point. The violations are ongoing, unabated. Left, right, center. So we must decisively deal with this cartel of leaders, this cabal of East African leaders who are orchestrating this kind of heinous crimes against humanity. What they are doing, they are committing crimes against humanity. So for us as the party leaders here, we are in touch with the colleagues in Kenya, the Martha Karuas and the colleagues. We have the team in Tanzania of Tindi Rusa and others, and a couple of others to do our effort. We ask all the colleagues to join us in this cause, so that as members of Jumuiya, we decisively deal with this blatant violation of our rights. And even the treaty we signed, the East African treaty, the East African Community Treaty, that treaty, it talks about common values. And respect to rule of law is one of the key values which bind us together. So we are bound together by those values of rule of law, democracy, of respect to human rights and whatnot. Not persecution. Now East African community is bound together by persecution, the issues of persecution, not those values. It is in the same vein as one of the last demands we are making. It is in the same vein that we are making a call to the ICC. You know, when genocide happened in Rwanda, the international community came out to pour out their hearts and emotions and regretted why they never intervened in time. Right now, there appears to be conspiracy everywhere internationally. ICC is supposed to move on its own volition under the Rome Statute of 1998. For the record, ICC is not just like any other ordinary court where you have to file petitions there. You can only help them to gather evidence, but it's a court of international record which is supposed to act on its own volition where there are crimes against humanity committed, like a genocide, like torture, abductions or kidnaps, enforced disappearances. Look at Article 5 of is being brutalized by this cartel. Where are you? This conspiracy of silence, they tried at one time against Ruto and others, but now they seem to have backed off. So ICC should put their act together and deal with this matter. Then finally, we need to ask our colleagues within the various disciplines, the lawyers in particular, Uganda Law Society. When you look at the Uganda Law Society Act, that body, professional body, is a vanguard of rule of law and constitutionalism. Yes, we appreciate some of the interventions so far made. And we also recognize the fact that law society is also wallowing under a lot of problems now that our head, the head of the profession, the president, is also fugitive. He's in exile. Isaac Asemakad is in exile. But those of you around who are holding fort, please, this is a public interest matter. It's not a matter for us only, members of PFF, that we have to ask even our dear sister Martha Karua to come and others. The law society needs to join. You can come in. There is in law what we call amicus curiae. Amicus curiae is a friend of court. So where there are these transactions, violations, the law society should come in at least as an amicus curiae, a friend of court, and join these matters. They fight alongside with the legal activists. So we ask Uganda Law Society, let's rise to the occasion, take the bull by the horn and fight this kind of impunity. It's the role and the duty of Uganda Law Society to join us in this struggle for God and my country. Those are Luganda and those are way forward yoka. Luwe forward yoka intervention. Ngabo muchite mumanyi olwaleero lweguweze aka. Tuli wano mu bwennyamivu n'obunyiikaavu obw'ekitalo okubanga tuze okukungubaka kisokera ddala olw'okuwamba mukadde waffe Dr. Kiza Besigye okumala omwaka mulamba. Ekyo tuyinza kigaana nti kinyize eggwanga ne ssekunyiga yenna. Omwaka ogubadde ogw'obugu.
Tuyino kuhamya ngu aho twaza kwikiraho aho baza kugambira olulimi Oluganda hakiri nekimwaba muyiremu omulimi Olungereza kandi abana b'ekibiina kya People's Front for Freedom kya Katonga ogwo n'omukuru Sarongo omurodi wa Kampala Lord Mayor Elias Rukwago kandi n'ab'ekibiina abandi bari kwetombo yitwa ahambera Ikano Besigye ningashi mukuru w'ekibiina cyabo yamara umwaka muramba ari mu nkomo kandi atakasharirwe mushango okugira ngo umusinge akomwe bateke kiramanywa bakurugirira harimo naho kwenye naho turugeyo kandi koko nawe ugambire ndi kutandika nti ebyo bari kubigamba bo kugira ngo erizoba bayisa umwaka muramba Kano Besigye na mutayiwe haja Bed Rutare kandi bamazire bamara umwaka omuchome okuruga obo bakwatwa ebiro 16 byokwezi kwe 11 umwaka oguhwire okwisirizo ne 2017 obo bakwaterwa muri Kenya eyo babire bagire ku witnessing lounge yakatabo ka umunyamateka Martha Karua no kwisobwate bacari muchome kandi bakibina cya PFF bari kugira ngo taro bulinganza nakace nguti cyabo conka abantu bona babegeiteho kudemandinga Uganda Law Society begeiteho kudemandinga na nabandi bono twaza kumura mukace mutuma bw'abashobozi twamara tugaruke twenda kwiyongerayo kukoreka ibiri kugenda mu misho Omuyanga utarugaho.
It's time to break free with AZAM TV. Grab yourself a full kit at 80,000 shillings or an AZAM decoder at 40,000 shillings. Experience the thrill of every goal in La Liga, Italian Serie A, German Bundesliga, and the excitement of live sports action from the Saudi Pro League and Carabao Cup on AZAM Plus and Play Package in HD. Your favorite China Uganda movies on Chamuka TV on AZAM Pure for just 13,000 shillings monthly. Unlock a world of sports and entertainment with AZAM TV, the most affordable pay TV around. Visit any of our agents or call 0312 308 900 for more details.
AZAM TV, entertainment for everybody.
Ekipya kiguse ku katale chogera vitamin E pinki jelly yaguse katale ne back to school packages wangula ne chogera vitamin E pinki jelly wamne chogera cocoa butter jelly nan perfume jelly ne aloe vera jelly products zisangibwa maduka gonna mu gwanga gula wesigero wangula ebintu okuli t-shirts boda TVs smartphones school bags ebitabo school fees watamwemu egali n'ebirala bingi nnyo gwegula bizigo okuli chogera vitamin E pinki cocoa butter nan perfume ne aloe vera jelly akalu kali mu kizigo munda wesige bwotuka wakati kati akalulu kajemu okumanya ebisingawo kwa noti musanvu noti 243 oba wereza WhatsApp ku noti musanvu noti 243 fee haba chogero tugamba clean your skin ne chogero products.
Wait emmere ogirese naye nga siraba kawaka weekali wano
teweerabira leta bubiri
sumulula buli alina akacupa kyokunywa kikwongera amaanyi kinywa kufunamu enjawulo kiri ku mutindo w'amanywamu eyo kalimu ebirungo bakalunga enjangawuzi bagiteekamu eri omwo ombisi gw'enjuki nagwo gusanga omwo kagaba waaka kanyweko n'owulira waaka kombucha drink kyekyokunywa ekisinga byonna era nga kikolebwa kampani y'Ekyama Enterprises Limited. Kati gwakyetaaze tufunire ku namba z'essimu zino wammanga 0701 734 oba 0783 10 38 waaka kombucha drink gw'oba onywa yekka.
Kankwakire ogundo murundi murebe wa tayari West TV. Now kacheho okutematemera mu omurugendo rw'omwaka ogu kano Besigye na mutayiwe Haja Bed Lutare bamara omuchome okuruga 2016 by'ukwezi ku 11 umwaka gutwatera amabega 2016 nibwo baza Kenya omukwezi ku 11 kandi ikigendererwa kurugerera hari omuchara wa Kano Besigye kwetwa Winnie Byanyima akije yagira ati umushije wanje akaza Kenya okuronchi okureba ronchi ninga shoku kutamukoro gwa ronchi yakatabo kamasa karua umunyamateko umwe omuri Kenya akabatambwira na Haja Bed Lutare konka 2019 byokwezi ku 11 nibwo yaruga yo kwandika ari kugira ati konka umushija wanje kuruga yaza Kenya his whereabouts itwenka family titukazimanyire nangwa namutayiwe haja bedo yatangwire nawe na hati amasemu gabo tigaruho kandi titukamanyire yaba bari sefu yaba bari mukono eriyo ebiro 20 ebiro 19 ubwo nubwo abahandiki b'empapuro z'amakuru baruga yo kupublishinga bari kugira ngo Kano Besigye abuzire takarebekire family eri kwerarikire twarebe ebiro 20 abe byo kwerinda baruga yo kushoborora ngo haza Kano Besigye ngugu nitwe tumwine tukamupikinga muri Nairobi aha hotel Riverside eyi twashangire ari ku planninga kwihaho government eji muri ngo gutarigwo nkihanga eri democratic atkonka we ari koresa ogundi muringo ubwo gutuju okugira ngo ayiheho ubwebembeze buriho niko ayebembere erizo bagiye biro 20 ukwezi ku 11 twariba Dr. Besigye na Abed Rutare baretwa bakomirwe kandi baheka omisho ga koti y'ikinyamahe okugira ngo babase okugamba ahanshonga eziba kwatirwe ebyo ne biro 20 nabwanyuma kandi ubwo kubahereze kuba leta yo of course byakote masho akayirako bikaba bicagumire utaramanya basharachi barikachi nkabanyamahe of course omhakari muno kugira ngo bashanga aine emundu yechika cha pisto na nebindi nkebyo atyo bamugarura omuchome okwisya 2010 byokwezi okwikumi n'ibiri ubwo n'umwaka guhwira 2010 okwezi ku 12 yagaruka kurebekwa omumisho ga koti niyemwe konka bagaruka bamusendika ruzira mpaka ebiro mushanju byokwezi ko kubanza akirako arugayo omunyamateka omwe urukweta Kanso Aaron Chiza kabaryo umwe omubantu ningashi ombaroya ababiri bari korereza Kano Besigye bari kugira ngo enkwatwa yabo teyikire oguni civiliani muri kumutamukoti y'abanyamahe kandi atine atasheme kubaraza mwatyo now conduct ya Kanso Aaron Chiza ngwe kija kubambi ahabanyamateka ningashi abaramuzi ibiro mushanju byokwezi ko kubanza Aaron Chiza is accused of contempt of court kandi bamusindika ruzira okumara emyezi mwenda konka kuba musindikire kumara ngo amareyo emyezi mwenda beija abanyamateka abandi batahibe bagira ngo apana ekiti kikire nakace bija bamushabira beyo yarugayo hanyuma yebiro cha I think ebiro 8 days ejone myezi ebiri neshweka close to emyezi 3 ebiro 14 ukwezi ko kubanza of course turi picking amwe ebiro bimwe bya appearing agaho mukoti ebiri 12 byo ko kubanza Dr. Besigye and Haja Beiru Rutare bakanga okutaha mushiba leta pri kugira ngo emishangwe bonjireho ya trichere yabere batirweho ihanga ningashi mcuwe manja ngo bagikirize aba bakija bayanga kandi kubahereze kwanga cyayereka ngo tibarabasa kwikiriza umushango umuntu yaba ari umucome hariho akuba leta ka pliba again kugira ngo uyikirize umushango ngo namazima imishango y'imwantaho ndajimanya nkagikora konkana ndashaba mu nsasire ekibonerezo cy'umwamukabire murampa ekitaba kinji munonga konkaba bakanga bagira ngo imishango giti turajimanya kandi turabasa kugikiriza nakace kwezi ko kubanza biro 21 Supreme Court yagira ngo ya rendering its landmark judgment declaring that it's unconstitutional for civilians to be tried by military courts. Ebine biro 21 kwezi ko kubanza kote iri kweta Supreme Court ekaruga yagira atkonka tikiri mu mateka omuntu okozesebwa mu koti y'abanyamahe haza atari musirikare ari mu service. Now ebiro 21 byo kwezi kwa kabiri ubwo kuba hereze kucara mu batyoya hati court martial babona kwinduraga imishango yabezije ereka gumera za mu koti y'Ikinyamahe bituze mu koti y'abantu baburijo ningashi civilian courts. Ebiro 21 ukwezi kwa kabiri Dr. Bezije na Rutare batyo bareka umisho ga koti yana kawa kandi babataho emishango misya erimu ya treason ningasho kurya omunsi yawe orukwe aho ekirereka ngo batandika ukuri imishango yabo kurungi bagumye n'ubukira bengo aba bakija baguma barashabirwa beiru ningasho baragira ngo bemererwe koti ekija yaguma eri kugireta temishango yabo erengeserize tubasa ubutabahereza kurugira muramuzi wa kuguti nkuru Rosette Comfort Kania ubwakije ya Yanga 2011 byo kwezi kwa kana yagira ngo takabasa kurekura Dr. Bezije hamwe na Haja Bed Lutare Beyo bityo akira ko twareba kano Bezije ba declaringa hanga strike okugira ngo nubo bari mu chome bareke okurya ngo I think ngo bareke kurya nko muri ngo gukoreka uno bakomerwe tibashemerirwe na kace ukurya bakurerera baza hahanga strike ningasho kugira ngo atakire cyo kwitwosha no twitwe njara. Now akira ko umukwezi kwa katano twareba events zaguma ziragenda misho habona kutandika kurebekaho abanyishenjero abatandika kutisa ahashonga okurugira ahari government chief whip not chief whip state attorney ya leta ekiteyiso cyo kugira ngo omuntu wabutosha arabasa kuba atari musirikare konka on certain circumstances atwarwe mu kote mwasho ninga shikoti y'Ikinyamahe. Abantu bamwe nangwa bagira ngo egira iteka ribasa kuba riri kwija okugira ngo ligarure Kano Bezije umukoti y'Ikinyamahe ko kabija bashoborora ngo ekitisho kigendererwa bitu neco kuyamba omuntu wa burijo umunya Uganda aha abantu abaturi barakora imishango ya impersonation umuntu kurugokwe ukashanga jire bijaro by'Ikinyamahe akakutayira towa viato atereta pesa yanga tema kono nkebe now iteka barihinguza kandi yarabamo ngo umuntu wa burijo yo kuba akoze imishango eri related to military bakushango jire uniform y'Ikinyamahe bakushango ine mundu mulingo gutaritegereza ni urabasa kutwarwa umukoti y'Ikinyamahe bakubuze gabanyamahe ebintu byabo aho byiri itekerio ryahingura ryarabamo. Now umuramuzo ndije akira ko niko twabe turi kureba umuramuzi Bernard Namanya na yijire umisho g'umushango gugu Kano Bezije nangwa yaguma ari kugongerayo umukire ko misho gwa kwase bwa umuramuzi ndijo ubwa hatiya Emmanuel Baguma wije nawe akagurira batamu kandi parentre autohika kwenda kubafundizamo mu kace Emmanuel Baguma auturugambira Kano Bezije bakaba bashabire ngo umushango gwabo eiva bwa nyuma yo kugira ngo ubahika mu koti Kano Bezije akereza umukono ati washinso muramuzi nandashaba ngo tutakatandikire ukuhurira imishango yitu narashaba ngo unkirize mbaze gire kinakumanyisaho Chiyabira ariko yenda kurabyaho kikija cyaretwa ombanyamateka beye cyo kugira ngo akaba ari kwenda ku protestinga omushango gwe kuba mu omuramuzi Emmanuel baguma abo kugira ngo akatekateka ngo hari bias iteka rira kwikiriza wareba ngo umuntu uri mushango gwawe arabasa kuba ari bias ninga yino rubaju rwari kugwera ninga yine kechi murafa urashara mu girote mushango wanye naragira ngo guhindure mutemu ndijo muramuzi undatekateka ngaraza kuba soba araza kuba fair araza kumpurira kurunji umushango gwanje konka nobukira bingo bibyo nabikija byaya apparently bari kushaba ngo omushango ogu bagwihe omukoti enkuru nguguze omukoti yengenderwaho yihanga ninga shi constitutional court kugira ngo bundi bakabasa kugira uburinganiza ubundi bari kurwa iteka riragira ngo umuntu kwaraba atamanyire kumura mucondoza akamara imyezi mukaga mucome atakabire convicted because apparently Kanovezi tugaje ngo convicted actually on remand umuntu uri on remand no baragira ngo roko bari mucome tworo kucondoza ugaruke hanyuma y'ibirebe so bakora convict niho barakugira ngo hati zo mucome okumara ubwiro rero warugaye umushango gwawe mweno savinge kibonerezo so apparently Kanovezi and his ally haja beiru tare oguru kureba webirahuri bari kugira ngo umushango gwabo guhindurwe ugurwe mu high court uguze mu constitutional court obundi ngo bakabasa kugirayo uburinganiza no bukira bingu no bwahati kushaba kwabo kukahurirwa umwaka ngugu gwarambira akira kankiriza tugumize mu ebyakanovezi tubite bitira harubaju abeje bina cha PFF barangirira kutandika kurwanirira ubugabe bwabo bona abakwasirwe nangwana n'abasibe bari kwita political prisoners twine omushashi witwa makuru abwaceka echakasese Mate Isaac ikiriza ati tugarure Omukaruuru kitu akaburijo Mate Isaac ari mu rurembo rwa Kasese ari kuganiraho na nomwe ahabesimbireho kandi abayesimbireho Omukaruuru ako kubanza ka primaries bitwa tagendeje kandi agaruka ko tine kibina kabugwo Mary turaza kuba turi kugambaho nabo akiraka kabugwo Mary yayisimbire kuba woman MP habwa Kasese district kandi turaza kuba tureta Mate Isaac kugira ngo twise ikiganiro cabo tuce turigumiza muna no kuboreka byona ebirije kuba biri kugenda omisho kandi omisho hawo turaza kuba twina n'ikiganiro cy'umwembezi uyanga ari kuronda karuru mbiceka ebyo ruguru erizoba omuri na Mutumba districts kandi hamwe na nahandi hari kutambura katubanze tuba twariho Kasese ukureba Mate Isaac yari kuganira na honorable Kabugwo Maryline
gakucangirira singa utre busuburiro wasinja kutsibu eribya iune mu kwamiriria isho program eshe tayari West TV okonambye no tuli ekatadoba kandi tuli na honorable Kabuwo Maryline onune independent candidate habwe ekitumbi ekyabakale hano Kasese district tukakana nayo erangera program shikuwiwe kandi nesho campaign ni kwa bidisichuka erangere nde akatwara ekitumbi kinu butunga so tunenayo hano mu hano katadoba kandi tukekana nayo omwatse tetete atubwere esho program shikuwiwe kandi nabusana naki akaisimba ngo mundu kwa kitumbi kinu eche woman member of parliament so honorable taramucho okubandu abakusamaliro kwa Tayari West
abalangiri nyo bose abali kwa Tayari West ngabaramukaya banituyiriwa yeyo amena ni Kabuwo Maryline wachota omwana oyongo kumuna mwasi munawire na ingaote bisange binene eribya abamanyi hostinga okwa TV eno eribya iningakana yana bakomi bayi abandu bayi banyoni bayi ababiri Nyanza kutsibu Maryline ahabwachi inabwateka imanira bakyara bekasese mu parliament ejo kubanza ngaziko bwasima abasombolia bosi ababi mu yellow book abalabiri ebicha primary elections abende bakanyisombola ingathunga ebulolo emitwalo mukana embendi ngabuni nolukolo mukama mwasinja kutsebo nerubwa obulolo obo munasinga okubwaenda banene banyisa malire india kalumba facho berikatwala bati abamakatwala chichachitya abandu bekasese bamapona bakomi abandu bekasese bamaana abandu bekasese bamaini byolumo mu busombolobo bamanyika kunerinyangokera mbesitu endikirire rikolera bule mwakatobokire itwabiro kukomi twa bandu bosi bekasese almost nero bakene mwatale center bakasoma yo mundu wabo itwe uli MP wetu wase usubule ngomundu kandi ukende kukoma nero mungikiriria ngama sana kaminyikalo kechinimba ake radio akobuli mundu osiyabye nawulikirireko ngawinda beshe radio media stations abosi basinja kutsibu eri ababiri chungula meso abanyakasese indi baba nawulikire cyachikene mbere neri bakaswitchinga off ya radio esyo ibakakola kibakahindula ibindu byabo so akabo Marilyn yono outisha programs siwe sinene echalekana bwati uleke ngapshwerienda abandu bekasisi cyababirenda bakahulekerera indinga wite a manifesto a different okapan first of all obo ne babinyirangira mu leadership skills yalangira nganabya omukyara yo angayene na wira bandi bakyara bosi omwakyanda kikulu kandi sindisolola bamana batata bekasese nyo munyisa malire omu parliament omukwesyo mu government musure ebintu binene kandi Marilyn yono niyo wasi hangu byangalwa nabakali atangirira Marilyn nganache banache kisembu kyawite bonesi namanya wawite mwilo bingira bandu bekasese alweritima neritsuru ya bandu lirikaleke walangire bwambwa atumu blocking alekerienda bana abantu tuli different abantu sibalyanza bakashayininga omwana wo mundu sibalenzera omukozi gawati sibalyanzira mbo yabeneka liri ku hali so abantu bekasese ngabasimande kibabirinyiragira cyo abamama bangayimanira ngana sindikande ebitebe byenyu nebyanga birenda ngingiramo ebinene tetete indi nabyo bineyo eribiro bingira bikanza omwana ngangabule obukali elangira ebitebe bitukayihesha sente sikasa sikawatikayo munyakasese chamabiri wati chomukali sikachamabiri wati chomwana w'isukuru chamabiri wati chanamaka tukazima government abo PDM beta bakali banene bangana musangana banamwenda baka complaining abatisibali ba receiving esha sente issue kandi paka bakanza rutendo omukali yukakanaya omukali wase kisibu kya buli mundu elangine tukabiresha sente issue eminyetu eyosi inisha programs ngali mama kasese kabo mere nichota mama kasese kabisa kisema mama ngali mama obuli mundu wose simyaka mulere namukolo Marilyn yono mumusamalirendeke akinde bakolera bamama na bayouth nyobosi esha programs abayouth sineyo esha youth fund esha youth programs eribalinga kwa sha NGOs other people who want to support their youth if other districts can do it why not Kasese we know where these things are so bayouth muleke samalira hali ngokumula mwabiri nyihamba ko editsike nyuma then don't relent muende mbere imunahambira kabu Marilyn omuyuthi wenyu ayakalangera chakinde bakolera obutuku bwembere
honorable before we go further tukarangera honorable Thomas Tayebwa Masahanu na Alhaji Chigongo ibakanzirikanya nawo naba independent abantu muwa waneriba high platform habwaje Honorable Thomas Tayebwa ngasawanga birumbana mu parliament Kampala akayikenunga byasingali and he knows that because ngasawanga birumbana chakasatru and he was here on Friday amanyu that we intend to go to Kasese nibakanikangana han why don't you tell me neraba when bachikabatwala ini chai ati chikatutwalayo tukanzeria kaniranya na ba independence sabakaze erilangeni tukawumulikanaya munga musuba mu ikinyo cyoma ende ngali asaba endoka ende Kasese wenga mobilizer iwanzire party NRM isinge uli endiyenda utangirilo mu office kusangwa manyanga wosi akolebawo na bandu mu office cheritsuko kuchapa so no NRM erika hes baba enda bakasisa buli cheno so ngale ulo mu office mu akyoka ike Kasese chisi ulekirwai hachiri uyutambuzayi ukanena bandu 10 babuli chiro abakomi bakubule the situation on ground that Friday Chigongo and Jonathan, that is the vice chairperson Owe Western. They called me the following that evening here Friday babiri arriving I was still in Kampala. inga naute ibindu yanga kwa limbiria yanga kwa lai. I couldn't come because vaniterra like at 8 we want to meet. I told them I'm in Kampala but I'm available. So ababerebaka ibamabulia I believe that they went and consulted bama banichire kwa ground ngani chai onese flag okanatwala unozi twama biri twala heaven betukandi kwesi unalota kolomori hereko ebyali yabeno abyenderi hereko renem nere chondo icha nang, so that people, I believe that people told them the truth. So up to now they have not told me, and no one by that for your information. Sali no mndo no mo whether hanekasese whether Kampala yenyikalire kabatingalo Omukaruuru inje cha ndo mudaka kabatinganza eri kubande omubyo kazeri I preempt because ngale mundu mukola my politician ngali asaba otangire bana bakomi in the flag nungi byanga matwala a flag ikiye yameno mu parliament selenarem Maryland akiya meno mu parliament. I'm not fight government, so where do you get that lost anga byanga otemitwala mukana embendi akalolo. I believe my people are there. Amabena ka claiminga awayatwala flag by force ati awata mukana kalolo. Happy people are there. People are there to the mitwalo ini mitwalo makumia nibiri amakumia nibiri mutwatrongo omabu ya dinga abo mune nebitabikire mwabi abali omabu ya dinga tukakole mitwalo 13 emitwalo 13 eyu tuchina wite emitwalo 27 awabiri na musanji is what I'm targeting eriongera kwa mutukana embendi because I believe people voted for me genuinely. Omukana embendi ngongera kwa emitwalo 5 ya kalolo emitwalo 5 ya kalolo yanga byongera yoko katungi 11 mandal go to parliament.
Now honorable, as you are calculating all that nabo bakachirangera in the, aren't you giving chance to Kabuo Florence kandiriba singo murundi owo?
Nothing like giving chance. We are Ugandans first of all. We have a right. We have our democratic right to practice. You're not supposed to stop anyone to. Omayo utuita bandu. Flores yalona neyo 5 years. Kasesa has not caught fire. Beto ngazi ni Isaiah in this time around Flores matwala chikusa last time because of so many factors. By the way, of all those factors omnalekeresa kutreva ati nyeko namunga isimba nasare chalika Flores ina love. No, it is not even close to that. There were other more factors o much studying anga politician then okende menya where are you coming from and where are you going. Others omndeka ko werati bakende abana kalolo. It doesn't act like that. My Uganda, you also know that Munesha districts and areas, constituencies, Eshaba, opposition Simbam, flag bearer Simbam, and independent. We have 78 independents. Where did they pass? Where did they pass in the previous election? So, opposition, you wait to, it doesn't even add up. It doesn't. The best mobilizer amongst the 6 women, they're all capable, the Ugandans will take the day. And jenga saba akaluka izinga nenda bantu nga trabasaba na iriba sabiria karolo endi musa madirika bomeri ne yandeke okwa mutwalo mukane mbindi mutwalo 5 yetukarondera yako tutwale ebindu ebyo mushi mu parliament. And trust me, this time round either in RM leaning is going to break the record.
Now, we are looking at 4th December Museveni Akasa. Yeah. In case Amanzirikana now, can you give him platform?
I have no problem. He's my president. I'm even mobilizing for him right now. I have no problem with him. Avandro avasisa kalulu tunavas. It is that, just that family. I have no problem with the president. It will be my pleasure to speak to him. Also to tell him how I'm mobilizing for him and how he should support me. Why not? I should meet him. Actually, I want to meet him. But I don't think that the president, I know that my president can step on anyone's capability. Most especially after knowing that this person has the mandate from the people. Ali winja kaluka garonda yanga ronda kaluka inarem garonda kaluka president na kaluka Maryland owachiwota erena mu parliament rimanira bachara busibu makasesi. So if I'm given platform
I hear that they're going to block independence. I'm like, the president doesn't even vote from Kasese. Whether they block or do not block, that is their business. But me, I know that I have the mandate for the people, and I'm ready and I'm mobilizing for the president. And this time round, the president must get a higher margin, including my vote.
Okay. Now we are looking at Kasese and Ebitsibu Byabandu. What do you have?
Ebitsibu ngachi we have tweet ebitsibu tetete.
Especially ato marangiranga bakali bakaye kuhakuhera erangirinde bakaru ejokoni nabo bakaso madero. So in that process there is a lot that is going on in communities. Ukaya, there is a lot of domestic violence. There is early pregnancies, early marriages. Ukaya Kasese yiri okuna mwanzo okubendunge ebyo kande bindwe tukarangira bikatusuba yenyuma nge district. So iwengo mwembembetea kande owane musaba karuru utre program which at least the cabia catered for.
Thank you so much. As a woman MP, that's one of the roles. As a woman MP, I told her Ricola, and because it's Taizinga, Bacharabao, of course, I removed world permanent domestic violence, but it's just keeping on engaging Isha families in the sisters Izinga Bakari. Most especially, Isha, what to call domestic violence, Ikabia, Ahabunako. Mamaka, but if we make these women busy, langin tukaba chindu cherikola cheritsukirakho, I believe that in domestic violence is here. So me that's how I intend to tackle it. Langin tuka developinga bisa ushabakali tukaba lobingira batunge esha startups loma government bakumundu mukali wosi ngamabya ngalonga naginga mira waende satambe byale ngamabya ngabire no makatali na ngana literi here. Hence, the child marriages and teenage pregnancies, early marriages, it is also we took ranking high in Kasese. In Inabanga Basamalire, most of those are girls. Esha programs in the Ministry for Gender, UN Women, Eskawatikayaba. I know all these offices that we can go and do. First of all, it begins from the family. We sensitize the family. We talk to these girls from primary level. Never primary level to where they are, telling them the dangers, demerits, and also making them busy. Programs like sports, like maybe technical facilities. To keep in school. Yeah.
For the youth?
For the youth, there are also so many things that I can lobby for them. It's so unfortunate that most times in Kasese, the youth MP have not held any youth MPs. I don't remember that on my generation area, that most of the youth MPs come from Barara, which is a bit far. Social services in Abakabia, Ebakakurawa, because the western region is a bit big. Gap as a mother, as a leader, as even women in Pingali, stepping omagapo you, ayirlanginina tukabalo bingira. The youth funds are there. So youth funds in our government, even other sister NGOs, this kakolgane government. And so to langira tuti, our youth yaba. To cover here how many. Then the technical schools to have one hub in Kasese, would also need another one in Muvuku, would also need another one in the west.
Lastly, Honorable, it counts your supporters sometimes get intimidated, you as an independent candidate. Andu kabaha mahachi ererangirende bakakusikirako iwenga independent.
Ngabaramukayeka masinja kusiberia munahambire kabo Maryland awe chilotro echamwabira hambirire chamukatwala chikiningiro mu parliament paka tutaltengira mtulekero umola. They keep on calling ngobutuko bunene ukasangana conference yenarem conference because the demobilizing your own person. Hatia mukaya mamalwa omwanyumba. You don't. Amalwa sulta sarwanise omwanyumba. So ukabyoka intimidatinga omundu wa Maryland, you're intimidating yourself, you're intimidating NRM. So nga windi aba supporters ba inyobo singa nambabura buli chirundo mudalike kutishatisha. Maryland awote right yiwe as a Ugandan eyeri itsemba. Uwite right yawe yerukoma no kwanga byoli mu NRM. First of all mu NRM simuli ya kutwalamu. Suli tunga mu msara kandi sibwe mbona ukindi supporting obibi by force.
Okay. Honorable Wasinja akatuka matuhamba Wasinja kutsibo musamaliri ture na Honorable Kabuo Mary Marilyn onone aitimbiro kwa cha woman member of parliament hano Kasese district. So ture nayo hano owiwe hano Katadoba kande tune mukanyako okumatsi Omukaruuru kande no mwatsi oweri tsimbanga independent. Wasinja kutsibu okwamena ninje Mat Isaac munyamakuru wawo hano Kasese district habwe tayari West TV.
Wasinja kutibu Wasinja kutibu Mat Isaac ne Honorable Mary tukamwendeza oboshako buhangozi kare yebare bunonga Mat Isaac kandi hamwe na n'umujenyi wogumire na waho wesimbire abwa independent mu district ya Kasese ko munye ishengero kazi eche kintu mugwe mu cyahuye member of parliament ninga si directly elected member of parliament ejo nentebe yabinji bari kujabane yabashije ko kati yabashije nentebe ya buryomwe everybody wano mukazi wano mushija na basa kujesimba. Then a woman member of parliament. Now, ukigamba mu rukigamba runyankore abamwe barakigamba kubi nguni nguno munyishengero wo mukazi umunyishengero w'abakazi ngo ushoti yabanka MP w'abakazi hadati ni MP omukazi umunyishengero ejo nentebe yo kugira ngo asheme kucicira abakazi ngo arajwekera abacara arajwekera bona konka specifically aratekwa kuba ari yo mukazi kugira ngo abakazi nabo tubatemu tabezo mu misho nabo babe abantu bamani munonga tutija kubasiga enyuma. Now umwebezi wihanga w'Ikitinisa His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni buhaburwa watari mu district ya banza mu district urameze district nazo zimwe ziracira kutwibaza izindi zigumire ari muri Bugweri yatandikira yo shayitano zirizoba kandi umbwire gumisho turaza kuboreka kubiri kugenda misho then shamwenda araza kuza mu district ya Namutumba kuba niyo yarondera obushajici erizo enjiri yo kugira ngo bagaruke kumwesiga kandi agumize muno ko imbere hangari ya Uganda niyo cyari kuburira ubwati umunyamakuru witu Adolf Ayoreka aine wari kuganira nawe kandi umwe hari yaba barakurira mobilization mu kibina cya Rwansiriza kandi turaza kuba turi kumweta kugira ngo atwiseho urubazo urwo na bwanyuma agumize matutware urubazo urwo mwebembezi wihanga ibyaraze kubaragamba umucicuye kecu turenda kurara twaganiraho nabo kugira ngo tumanye campaign zirizita muri Bugweri na Namutumba districts kandi ubwo bari kuzikugira bakaheza ebiceke byo bakorekera rwaburengero rwizoba ati bakaze muri cika cya Kigezi kandi aketororo yongere kubisha usanga hariho ehururu riho yo kusima president Yoweri Museveni ababo bona bashomira mu mashomero ga UPE na USE ebiro 23 weno ramanyanga kashomera mu Universal School primary or secondary ningo kashomera mu mashomero ga bona bashomera ebirabo 2023 turi kubuganira kororo kugambira His Excellency the President nguwe bare mnonga asante sana okatkoraje si muno kujya gukora atariwe twakushomeri ngwenu ehurereje mugumyeho akachiko kariho kari kubitebe kanisa kugira ngo kabahereze amane ntambara eriho babatware kororo musibe na president musime zeno bwire bwo mwisho mwinjire kushama kugira hati mu byo bwegese tukabere turi kwena ngongere mweki na neki okugira ngo bigendeje munonga now umwami Adolf Ayoreka aine honorable orakorera mobilization umushibina cha Hainarem Dombo Emmanuel Lumara ogu bari mu district ya Bugweri kandi umwembezi wihanga ari kurondo bushagiki obwatiya turaza kumweta kugira ngo tuganireho nawe amajingwaga rero ko turaheze tubone gumiza muno no kuboreka ibyo ne biraza kuba biri kugenda misho mu kurondo bushagiki na munongo bw'HB na cyarwanyisiriza na munonga kuba bahereze kwetereza kugira ngo mbete hatiya baganireho na nitwe twamara tubone kugenda omisho na no kumanya Ebirikufa Omukaruuru Omubyanga Bitaribimwe na bimwe muri yo bwire bwa Karuru kandi abantu bingi bari bari kuronda ubushagiki Omubyanga bitari bimwe na bimwe reka tuborekeho ikiganiro cha umunyamakuru witu Adolf Ayoreka hamwe na director wa mobilization umwenaremo
kaje press to mobilize from 7 kureba ngo Karuru akomukumi 2026 yabasa kuba nakahangura. Honorable Dombo, you're live on Tayari West TV.
Well, the people of Tayari, mwena mwasibaje eno kwetu tulya harare hanuya Bugweri rare ya kabiri omubusoga sub-region ni mukimanya turuga busoga nituiza Western Uganda. We shall be beginning in Kisoro, but I want to tell you Tayari has done us very proud, and I want to tell you that NRM, we wanted to show you the rallies so that nobody tells you lies. No AI, no modification, live pictures of what has happened from the first day up to now. NRM is on the top of the game. We are winning. Districts is Ganya, Ania Singa Mone, Ania Singa, Nakaluru, Wekagendo Kubera, Kabatari Mwebali.
Honorable Busoga, Mwetegese Mtokurabanti, maybe before. What are those achievements that they should protect in Busoga?
Soka, those achievements, Luganda English. The peace in the Busoga has attracted many investors who have come in here. Katibotuka kunkula kulana, amakubo, amasanyalaze, amazi, amakolero, ebyo byonna bikoleddwa NRM. Ekyokusatu, bw'otuuka ku masomero, amalwaliro, buli gombolola mulimu eddwaliro, buli muluka mulimu essomero lya primary, buli gombolola mulimu essomero lya secondary. Ebyo byankulaakulana ebya social. Kati bw'otuuka ku mirimu, factories ebikajjo, factories za processing, n'ebintu ebikoleddwa bingi eri abantu baffe. N'ekisemberayo ddala lutalo lw'okulwanyisa obwavu. Obwavu bubaddewo kubanga abantu baffe balina ku bikajjo. Naye President Museveni mujja kumuwulira ng'asomesa abantu baffe bongere okukwata enterprises endala ezinaabayamba.
Mobilization mwetegese mutyo gikola ku abantu Busoga. Mufuna abantu ku rallies oba mobilization.
Ekibiina kino ky'abantu. Katukozesa abantu bennyini abalondebwa mu structures. Tukozesa mobilization nga tusinziira ku bantu bennyini abalondebwa mu structures okuva ku kyalo ku miruka ku magomolola ne ku district bwe tugenda ku national bano bajja kuwerekera n'okwekibwa omukolo nga gutambula naye nga abakulembeze ba Busoga batukoze bulungi nnyo era twagala kubebaza.
Thank you, Honorable Dombo. Nindeba President Eshayona Nabana Ragara Mkandi abantu bikuletera live bubutunu sitting room ya onyenda kwereka abantu aha district kota arebana na hariya twineho
ogweni Adolf Ayereka mshachi witwa makuru kandi ari kutambura campaign trail ya President Museveni wa hatiya ari kuganira hona Honorable Dombo Emmanuel Lumala ogwe actually nabakoze menshi bo mukumwanjura karakari head wa mobilization ngati niwe spokesperson w'ekibina cha NRM ningashi kagambirizi w'ekibina cha Rwangisiriza twazagumiza mutu batware President Museveni ari kurondera Karuru murire bigambo bye obahatiya butunu mu district ya Bugweri kandi tujja kweyongerayo umukiri komisho hwaho naza kubamba sibulira aha mbendeze ndacyamshana yihorere kato batware okureba ebiri mu district ya Bugweri.
Okumobilizing Akaruru kenare mu bulungi era nga kyendi kusembya Your Excellency Sebu Your Excellency Sebu twafuna district status twalina health center